What's up? I am on Rohan, all that good stuff. My day is going pretty good. Hopefully yours is. You can always leave a comment on that if you wish. When you have to make adjustments, are you able to quickly make these adjustments? Regardless what it might be, or when, or how, do you have the knowledge? Do you have the power to do so in a timely manner? Regardless how it is, you must change in this matter. When you have to do it, regardless if you wish, do you still choose to do this? When you have to live your life without fear, do you tremble and shake with fear? When you have to hold back from choosing not to do whatever is that, is this what you do? Even though, from on the inside of you, it's the only thing you wish to do. When you have to push harder on what it is you wish to do, is it something that you will actually do? When making adjustments in these kinds of things, it's not always easy to do such things. A lot of times you have ones you think you need to please, but the question is, are you happy when it is that you choose to please? When you have to consider what it might be if these things were not considered. When you have to make a hard decision, a crucial point, a major decision. Do you have the power and know-how? Or do you know someone who does? Someone experienced, for you or not? Always helpful to know these kinds of things upon this spot. When you have to live without fear, even though the only thing you see is fear. When it is that you have to live in a situation such as this, it's not always easy to overlook this, especially when it's all around you regardless what you do. Maybe you have to dig deep within you to find something maybe you might possibly be able to do to make it easier, a safe place for you. What is it that you face? Do you know what it is upon this place? If you have to write it down, what would it be? If you have to say what it is you do not wish to see, if it is that you know what it is you wish to be, if you have to write it down, what is it that you would see? If you have to live without shedding a tear, would it be very easy to not shed a tear? If you have to force yourself not to cry, would it be that your emotion would die? If you were to look back, if you have to, would it be something that you thought you would have to? If you have to zone out background noise, would you be able to zone out the background noise? Would it be hard? Or paying attention? Would that get you far? If you have to do it alone, would you be the only one? Or would you try to get another? Maybe a sister or a brother. If you have to live in a way that you do not wish, what difference would it make if you thought of this? Any one of that which was mentioned. Have you ever thought of those things that I have just mentioned? If you have to choose between your happiness and another's, would you choose your own or the other's? If you have to do what it is you do not wish for a season to get what it is that you wish, that is this, would you do it or would you not? If you had to make an adjustment that you did not expect, would you do just that? Go around what it is that happens to be that, instead of taking your straight forward path? Would it make it to where you happen to last longer than what you would if you did not do that? Or would you just plow through regardless of what it is you chose to do. If you had to take the roundabout way, would you take it, or would you go the straight way? If you had to make a choice between you and someone else's life, who would be the one that you chose to give a life? If you had to pick, but only one, an individual, just one, that would make you happy for the rest of your life, who would it be that you wish to spend the rest of your life? If you had to pick between hostility and happy life, would the pick you made, would it be right? If you had to pick between one that would get something and one that would not, who is it that would get something and who would not? If you had to pursue your dream, or the time that you would be seen, would be less, would it be that you finally pick this? If you had to spend 3 days in a room with one, who would it be? And why? As far as every single question I have asked you. So, if you had to make an adjustment, why wouldn't you? If you had to live your life without fear, why wouldn't you? If you had to spend your life without shedding a tear, would you? And every other question that I asked you, same applies to all that I have asked you. So if you had to write down your answers, would you? If you had to do what it is that you are afraid of, would this thing, would you still be afraid of? Or would you conquer that fear, regardless what it is that causes that fear? If you had to make adjustments quickly, and you're not very good at making adjustments quickly, if you had to, for an hour a day for a year, would you still be able to say that after a year? If you only had to pick just one individual, I'm pretty sure you know the one, to be with, would you tell them that you wish to be with? Or would you keep it secret? Would you be nervous if you couldn't keep it secret? If you only had one chance? If you had to tell this individual, would you still be nervous to tell this individual? If you had to pick between an hour or a day, for you to say what it is you wish to say, which one would you pick to say what it is you wish to say? Now here's the thing about that last one. You don't know how much time you have in between that last one. If you had to pick between an hour or a day to do what it is that you should do upon this day, which one would you pick? Not knowing if you have an hour or a day, a week, a month, a year, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 20, maybe the next second you have will be your end. So if you had to, what is it that you would do? If you had to, only an hour was allotted to you. What different is it that you would do? had to tell the one you wish to be with that you only had an hour to be with, or a day, or a week, a month, or a year, maybe 5, maybe 10, would you still tremble when you see or hear? Would you choose not to live in that fear? If you had to make an adjustment because you only had an hour, what different would you do within this hour? Or a day, or a year, or a month, 5 or 10? For you do not know when it is that is your end. If you had to, should be the way you live. Because you do not know the allotted time you are allowed to live. So if you had to pick anything that I may not have mentioned to do within this hour, day, week or month, year, 5 or 10, what would be different? If you knew that it was going to be your end upon any one of these times that I have said. If you had to. If you had no choice. How different would you choose to use your voice? Would you use it to cause strife? Or is it that you choose to use it to bring life? You never know when your end might be. Never know when it is the last time your family you will see. Never know what it is this individual you like. You may not get to see them again within your life. This dream or other things such as this. Same thing applies to all of this. You do not know what it is you may not get to do, because you do not know the allotted time that belongs to you. So if it is that you had to pick the final things that you would do, what would be different than what you currently do? Sorry if I stepped on a few toes, by the way. There are a few that might listen to that and think. But then there are others that will not change their way, losing their opportunity to be what it is or where they wish to be. But there's one thing that you can guarantee. That if it was true, that there was only an hour, a day, a week, or a month, or maybe a year, 5 or 10, how you would change from the start to the end of everything you do. This is what I guarantee you. It would be different than what you do. It's kinda sad. Only in the moments of desperation and need. Of course, if you have desire and need, then this does not apply anything that happened to be said by me. Or you already live as if you have to. So this message for you that happen to do, it is not particularly for you. For you already know. You do not know how long it is before you go. So you already choose to act as if you do not know. Already acting as if you already know that I have to get anywhere. It is a have to. So if you had to pick, which one would it be? An hour or a day? A week? A month? Or a year? 5 or 10? Which one? To know that it is at the end of that time is your end. If you had to actually act after you said something, regardless what happens to be that, would it be that you would actually act? Or is it that, no matter if you say or not, you will not act upon this spot? So lastly, I will say this. If you had to, what can be applied to this? As far as in your daily life, if you had to, just that phrase. But because I'm asking you, the phrase is slightly different for you. I have to, is what you would actually say. And then have actions upon that day. Well, that looks like all the time I have for now. So, until next time.